We needed something to spruce up the house, so we thought we'd put an arbor up. First thing you've got to do once you figure where your arbor is going to be, you've got to dig holes. I decided to put 3 6x6 posts in the ground as opposed to 4 4x4s because a 6x6 just gives you a much more substantial look. First thing I did is dug the holes with a post hole digger. I used this as a template. This thing to the right is a template to be sure the holes were plenty wide. And what I did is I dug them about over 4 feet deep to get below the frost line, about 4 foot to 4 foot 6 inches deep. I added 2 bags of concrete mix to the hole. I go to my local lumber company and I find bags that are ripped open, and that way I paid 99 cents a bag for this concrete mix. It worked out great. So what I did is I put 2 bags of concrete mix in each hole. That brought the depth to about 32 inches, and I poured water into the hole on top of the mix. I poured the mix in dry. I poured water in on top of the hole, and that way it just kind of saturates the concrete, and it's less likely to shrink, in my opinion. That way the water comes from the sides of the hole, from the bottom of the hole, and from the top, and that's the way you make your concrete mix. So I did this, and the next day, about 24 hours later, when I was going to start putting my posts in place, I poured also a couple shovelfuls of pea gravel on top just to get it kind of level, and then it was set for the posts. I set the posts in place, and next I figured where the arbor is going to start on the roof and what height the support beams on top were going to be. I figured wrong. I cut wrong and I had to redo it, but basically I ran some nails into the top of these 2x8 support beams, and after that I put a couple lag bolts in, 1/2 inch by 12 inch lag bolts to give you extra sturdy support. Again, I double checked everything and started laying out the 2x8 beams. First of all, I ran a 2x8 along the roof, nailed it into the roof, tarred the top side so water couldn't get in, and then I started nailing or screwing actually these support beams onto the roof. And I also screwed the support beams onto the arbor itself, onto the main part of the arbor, onto the double 2x8 beams set across there. Again, there you can see the lag bolts, how I had it supported, along with about 5 nails on each side, which don't do nearly as much, but the support bolts, those lag bolts, are what's going to really hold. Once I got all those put across and screwed in place, I then put the 16-foot that's 14 foot by 14 foot basically is the arbor size, and then I put 16-foot 2x4s and trimmed everything on an angle just to give it a little bit fancier look, and that's essentially the finished arbor. But we thought that was a little bit lacking, so we thought we'd add one more nice touch. I first notched out 2x4s. I notched them all around the posts, about 1.5 inch notch. Then I put 3 screws in each one where they join the post, and I ran a total of 5 of those, and then that gave me a place to put the lattice work on. We had purchased the heavier duty lattice work, and that runs about $17 per unit, 4x8 foot piece. It's the heavier duty stuff, and I actually purchased some galvanized staples, 1 inch by 1/4 inch crown by 1 inch long galvanized staples, and so I put a lot of galvanized staples in this thing, and so it's holding pretty well. Every place I could staple, I've got the sideways. I had sideways supports on there. We again put galvanized staples in there, quite a few. And we've got this thing looking really good now, so it gives you some privacy, and it's going to be a nice finished product. It's going to be very durable also, because again we've got 2-foot centers on the sides, and we got 16-inch center on top, so it's going to be pretty durable. We got plenty of staples to hold it in place. The last thing I did is I built a planter along the bottom, 24 inches from the post, the outside of the post, the 6x6 to the inside of the planter, and I planted 2 grapevines, which in about 3 to 4 years will crawl up the side of the arbor and then go over the top. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be beautiful when it's all grown up, but in the meantime it still looks good. It gives us some privacy. It also helps keep the sunlight from getting in and just blasting you away on the hot days, so it just really adds a cozy, homey effect. Basically, here's the before and after finish. Before the lattice work, after the lattice work in the arbor. It just really, I think, warms up the look. It gives you a beautiful, homey look when you come on up to the house. Here's the back side before and after picture. Again, I think you'll agree it definitely makes a difference. It warms it up. And here's one final before and after picture. I hope this helps. I hope you enjoyed it, and hope this inspires you to build your own arbor. Have a good one, and God bless.